Welcome, everyone. We have the Disney Store exclusive Spider-Man Mego 4-pack. So this is basically a replica of the original figures from the 70s. We've got Green Goblin, Spider-Man, Lizard, and Electro. Now, as a really little kid, I had Spider-Man. Matter of fact, I think I had 2 or 3 Spider-Man because I was a very little kid and I would tear these up pretty quick. And my mom rebought them maybe a couple times, or maybe she fixed them. I don't know. I remember having a couple different versions. But there's a really interesting history behind Mego, and in the past 4 or 5 years, they began reproducing figures. I don't know if the same people own the company. I believe they do. And they're basically cashing in on, all the nostalgia and vintage replica stuff. We've got replica Star Wars figures now. Matter of fact, we're getting like never before created vintage Star Wars figures. And so Mego's kind of back in the game and basically remaking figures that look like the original figures. These are all new molds, but they've worked to replicate the original molds and style, with probably a little bit better figure bodies than what the original figures had. Because I remember the originals were quite floppy, and they weren't designed for the standards that action figures have today. So for packaging, we've got this big outer box, and these divisions, these are separate inner boxes. And the original figures came like this. They had figures that were in boxes. Sometimes they would have windows, sometimes they did not have windows. Eventually they made versions of the packaging, same figure, but like later years, different versions of the packaging that were on blisters. So you can get into a whole thing about all the different versions of, say, Spider-Man that were on different packaging, maybe slightly different molds, slightly different versions of the costume. There's a lot. We won't get into that, but just know that they're trying to replicate the look of the very first runs of these toys. So on the outer box, we got some nice character artwork here. Very classic, Steve Ditko, John Romita style artwork. Those logos are carried over on the top. And here's what we have on the bottom. And we've got like a UPC and then probably a Disney Store UPC sticker on top of it. On the side, we've got that same classic character artwork, Marvel character artwork, and the exact same on the other side. And then on the back, we've got this nice photo just kind of showing all the figures pretending like they're in the scene together. Oh yeah, and then there's that dude. That's the Mego dude. So yeah, he's the one who's part of this new modern iteration of Mego. All right, so that's the outer packaging, the outermost packaging. So let's see what the inner packaging looks like. And that outer packaging did not have any tape on it, so it's going to be very easy for you to take these out of the package and then place them back in the package if you want to keep the packaging. Even the smaller boxes that are inside do not have tape, so I like that. The whole idea of this kind of being a collectible is nice, that you can say, okay, I want to play with these, maybe I want to put them back in the box. You can do that without, basically you don't have to open these up and destroy the packaging. And then as you saw, this was taped on the inside, and it's basically a coin. Let's see if I can get this open. There's a lot of tape on this. They put all the tape budget on getting this taped up. But this is metal, and it's got Spider-Man on one side, and it's got the Mego Corporation logo on the other. So that's pretty nice. Okay, and as you see, we have these individual boxes, and one thing is the inner boxes have some extra characters. We've got Iron Man, we've got Hulk, and we've got Captain America. Spider-Man is ever so different on his. Lizard has the same as Goblin. So the villains have the same characters on the sides, and Spider-Man is just a little bit different. And then on the back, we've got this nice classic 70s character art, which I'm sure is what the original Mego toys had back in the day. Okay, so let's get these guys all the way out of the packaging. And also real quick, when you go to get them out, these guys are going to be on these little plastic ties, but you can easily remove these without destroying everything. Yeah, you could just reach in and rip this out, but if you want to take a little bit of extra time, you can, work these through the hole and, get these out without destroying the packaging. So here we have them out of the package, and they are surprisingly well made. A vintage Mego is probably not going to stand like this. The original Mego figures had the He-Man style hip construction where they had like rubber bands connecting the two hips together. These have, basically disc hinge hips, and the joints are surprisingly like tight. And I don't mean like too tight. I mean like, good action figure style joint construction. Also, I don't remember if the original figures had any kind of foot rotation. They definitely had up and down rotation. I guess they did. Man, I don't remember. But the joint systems are on these new ones. The range of motion is pretty similar. It's just that the construction is a lot better. So you've got these disc hinge shoulders, you've got single elbow, you've got these rotating hinge wrists with an inner wrist hinge. There is a ab joint that used to be a rubber band, and it feels like this is a like plastic on plastic, like a Marvel Legends figure. And there is waist rotation, so there's another joint there. And then you're going to have disc hinge hips. You don't have a thigh swivel. You're going to have a single knee. Probably can get a little bit better than that, but I'm afraid of tearing up the material. The material does seem pretty nice too. Like for instance, think about, a Hot Toys figure from 10 years ago that had this kind of material. You would probably touch it and it would it'd be like women's stockings. Like there would be runs all through the fabric. This is designed to hold up a lot better, so that's pretty cool. And then as I was testing the foot earlier, there's an up and down hinge and there is a horizontal hinge. No kind of like ankle tilt or anything like that. If you're not accustomed to seeing figures like this, they have some like weird things going on with them. Like you'll notice Spider-Man, he's got this outfit with these really big web lines, and then he's got this plastic head that does not have the web lines painted. That is totally vintage. They did that to save money. Goblin's got his little uh, I was about to say purse, his little bag, his bag of goodies. He does not want to stand, but he's got some weird boots. Like, look at those boots. They are not all that flat on the bottom. Very interesting. I don't know why they gave him this design. They should have made his boots flat. Like, compared to Electro, he's got flat boots. He stands like a pro. It is a little weird that his little top lightning bolt is flat on his head. I don't know if it's meant to be this way. You might be able to put, heat this up and maybe straighten it out, but I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. And then Lizard is the weirdest. He's got this kind of weird head. His tail is it's like a doll. Like, it's got like some type of stuffing, material in it. He's got the lab coat, and he's got, a shirt and pants. So he's kind of deluxe as far as like the construction compared to the other figures. So pretty cool. Like I said, you would not be able to get vintage Migos to stand like this. So there's been a lot of improvements or thoughts for improvements in re-releasing these figures. And by no means are these like original molds. Like, all that stuff is long gone. So whoever sculpted and, worked on the actual product, this is all new stuff, just designed to replicate the original toys. And then if you're not used to these kind of figures, so that's what these are going to look like. Another thing of interest is when Mego came back out 4 or 5 years ago, they were mostly doing DC. I don't think they had any Marvel stuff, so I think this might be their first Marvel license in the modern era. They had a bunch of 18-inch figures that they sold at Target. They redid like the old Star Trek 8-inch figures. They did those for years and years and years. They've had some smaller DC figures in the past few years. And this is a Batman that they never did, but this is a pretty cool Batman. The only thing that really throws this off is the proportions. Like, he's got doll proportions, but his construction is very similar, like very, very solid construction. And I didn't know this myself, but I had a viewer mention to me that these Beast Kingdom figures are in the same scale. And yeah, they're, not perfectly in the same scale as far as height, but they're very close. Proportions are human-like. They're not doll-like, but it seems that they purposely chose this scale to kind of be like an analog, like hey, people who used to have these toys as a child, here's a more adult version of a what a Mego figure could be. The price is also hugely different. Like, this Batman, you get this Batman at Walmart for $20, and this Beast Kingdom figure is like $80-$90. So better is going to cost more. So overall, these are pretty cool. They can be a lot of different things to different people. If you are somebody that had these as a child, you might want these figures to kind of relive those memories. If you are just into vintage stuff, like, let's say this is not from your childhood, but you just appreciate vintage stuff, this is a way to kind of connect to a vintage product without having to go on eBay and spend hundreds of dollars looking for the originals. Also, very much so, you could give this to a child of today. You could give this to a 4-year-old and they would love this. And these are designed to be figures that young people can play with. I do notice the packaging says 14 plus, but I don't like these things don't have choking hazards. So yeah, maybe you shouldn't give them to 4-year-olds. Just to be safe. Let's go by what the manufacturer says. But looking at these Um, you know, the construction is very good. They don't have like loose parts. They don't have things that you would find on a figure like this. So if you have a child, whatever age that plays with these, they can play with these Miko figures. So let me know what you think. I'm really curious about the people who had these figures as a child. Are you interested in getting these? Do you think this is like a good idea? Do you want them to come out with Iron Man? He's going to have a cloth suit for his armor. His chest might be plastic, but he'll look a little weird. But Captain America would probably be good in this format. Hulk would be interesting. They would have to use a different body for Hulk. Let me know if you're interested in Miko doing those. And even if these didn't exist when you were a child, like what do you think of these? And again, these are not going to replace a nice quality Mezco figure or Beast Kingdom figure, but as a nostalgia thing, as something that you can buy, have a small collection and display, let me know if you're digging these at all. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And please tune in to more videos coming up. Thank you.